Let's do 7. What's going on, everybody? In this video, I've narrowed it down to 7. That's right, just like you saw a second ago. 7. Why 7? Why not 7 is the better question. Affordable fragrances that can be found from discounters online or from the rack stores that I've been spending a good bit of time with on and off over the last several weeks that I deem worthy of at least checking out if you get the opportunity. Because who knows, you may end up loving them and having to have a bottle. So stay tuned. Starting with one that is ideal for this time of year as it starts to cool off. It's the most powerful in its line, one of my favorite cheap designer lines out there, that being from Abercrombie and Fitch. This is First Instinct Extreme. They are starting to pop up at the rack stores again. That's why I wanted to discuss it with you guys. Again, I've seen them at Marshall's. I've seen them at TJ Maxx. This is a 6 to 8 hour fragrance. In my experience, the best performing of the line. This still adds that fruity, fresh, watery, aquatic nature of the original, but it is much warmer, much more dense, spicier, muskier. It's an all-around better fragrance. It is the extreme version of the original. If you've ever smelled the original, this is taking that DNA to the 5th power. It really is. It's much stronger. It projects a lot heavier for about 2 hours. It's a pretty heavy projector. And like I said, anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. I've had people tell me they get 9 or 10 hours, but I get in the 6 to 8 hour range every time I wear it. They pop up at the rack stores. $20 to $30 depending on the bottle size, 50 to 100 ml. This is a 50 milliliter bottle, and it's one that's worthy of checking out. If performance is super important to you, it's the only one in the line for you, because it's the one that performs the best for sure. And honestly, it can be the highlight of the line because it still maintains that mass appealing, fresh, aquatic nature of the original and basically all the flankers besides this one, really, but adds, like I said, that creamy muskiness and that heavy, warm spice to really give this one a different character from the other fragrances in the line. If you get an opportunity, definitely check this one out. It's Abercrombie & Fitch First Instinct Extreme. Next is one that got a lot of hype over the last year, and I believe it to be well deserved. It's misleading because you would think it's a blue fragrance based on its presentation and its name, that being UOMO Ice. While I'm not saying it's not mass appealing in many ways, it definitely doesn't smell like it falls into the blue category for me personally because it's so rich in this beautiful sweet fruity plum note. There's a little bit of an earthy herbal type of tobacco in the dry down with this creamy sandalwood. There's this more so sweet than heavily spiced cardamom note there, but it's more sweetness than spice. It's just an undertone of spice. Bright and fresh citrus up top. It performs very well, and you can find this for around $20-ish when you can find it online from discounters. I actually looked at fragrancebuy.ca today as of the recording of this because that's where I got this bottle from. This is a 2.7 ounce and it's currently out of stock, but it is in stock in other places. I just did a full review of this one a few days ago as of the recording of this particular video, and I had people in the comments telling me a 4.2 ounce at this place for this price and so on and so forth. So they're out there. If you do just a little bit of searching, it's not hard to find. It is a cheapie steal, and another one that I deem, if you get an opportunity to check this one out, I believe it to be a must-try fragrance because it's a nice change of the norm, especially at this particular price point, because it performs way better than what you're going to pay for it, doesn't smell overly synthetic, and has enough freshness to work in the summer, yet enough sweetness and performance to work in the winter. So really, it's one you can wear year-round and really get your money's worth out of it. Again, that's UOMO Ice. One in particular that the price continues to drop on, and it's a bona fide cheapie at this stage, especially for a 50 ml like I have. It's in the $30 to $40 range. It performs so much better than that price point. In my opinion, it's the best smelling fragrance in the line, that being the Mont Blanc Legend line, and this being the Eau de Parfum flanker. I do believe this is the highlight of the line. The original is great. Legend Spirit, a great replacement for the old original Invictus Aqua 2016. The Intense was a great fruity flanker, don't get me wrong. Before this came out, I would have deemed the discontinued Legend Intense as the highlight of the line. Legend Night, solid flanker. All that, the line as a whole is a good line, especially as cheap as you can get all of them from, except for the Intense because it's discontinued, at discounters. And this one has started to fall in line. While still the most expensive one from discount websites, it's still in that bona fide cheapy affordable territory. And another one for me, 6 to 8 hours, not a beast by any means, but definitely above average in longevity. Not a super heavy projector, but a very present projector. This one leaves room to be discovered when you walk by somebody. Maybe the light aroma will catch them, but it is Mont Blanc Legend at its core. It's got this warm red apple smell. It's got this lovely spice. It's an intoxicating, sexy fragrance. It just is. This is one of those fragrances that immediately comes to mind when I think what smells sexy. What's a sexy scent profile for me to wear? Mont Blanc Legend EDP. Legend, a little bit more sharp, edgy, harsh, and synthetic. Legend EDP, much more rich, smooth, dense, and refined. This is definitely the most refined version of the DNA, and one that you definitely should give a try if you get an opportunity. It's Mont Blanc Legend EDP. One that just doesn't get enough love, in my opinion, for its uniqueness, performance, at its price point. That being the original UOMO from Roberto Cavalli. While it has spawned several great flankers, two of which I have yet to try that a lot of you that are watching this video now have recommended I try. I do have Silver Essence, the silver bottle. That one's more about violet leaf with the iris, whereas this is all about violet and honey. And man, is it a lot of it. There's a nice woody undertone. There's almost a slight incensey, smoky nature as I start to get into the heart of the fragrance, though I don't really recall that being in the note breakdown. It's just the way it comes off on my skin. Another one, an easy 6 to 8 hours in performance. This 60 ml right here, you can get in the mid-20s, sub $30 range. 100 mLs in the $30 to $40 range, and it does not smell synthetic, at least not to me. It's a performer. It's a lot sweeter. It's a sweet floral, if you will, but it still smells like it belongs on a man's skin. It has this masculine tinge to it for being a sweet honey flower fragrance. I know that can sound kind of strange for me to put it that way, but it's one that, as the theme goes here, it's worth giving a try. You may end up falling in love with this. It's a little bit more refined. I believe this dresses up very, very well, but it's not one that's so serious that you can't wear with a t-shirt, though I would deem this something you would want to wear in evening situations or dressier occasions overall. Something formal, semi-formal, along those lines. Business casuals, really the lowest end I would go. The most casual I would like to go with attire, but like I said, anybody can wear anything at any time. This is just my personal recommendations and when I like to wear it and how I like to dress accordingly with the fragrance. Like I said, it's different. I've never smelled another fragrance that smells like Roberto Cavalli UOMO. It's a great baseline DNA that they were able to flanker several awesome fragrances in their own right from there. But my own personal opinion, when it comes to fragrance DNAs that spawn flankers, it's always best to try the original first. And in this case, the original is fan-damn-tastic. That being Roberto Cavalli UOMO. Even though the Intense name is very fitting, they really could have named it Absolute, because I believe this is absolutely the best version of this particular DNA and best fragrance in its own line, that being AZZARO Pour Homme Intense Eau de Parfum. So it does maintain the original's DNA, that spicy aftershave smell, very aromatic. Only here it's not a softer spice, it's a much more warm spice because it's a heavy dose of cinnamon. You still get a little touch of that herbaceous soft spice that's there in the original, this strong aromatic quality. Here it has a boozy note of brandy that adds this sweet boozy nature. It's much more refined, well-rounded, and not as rough around the edges as the original. And performance is cranked up on this one. This is an easy 8 to 10 hour fragrance on my skin. While this one does dress up very well, this is another one that I think you can pull off with a t-shirt. I do, but, and actually much more casual, I think, than Roberto Cavalli UOMO personally, because the sweet aspects and just the way that one's done with a lot of floral nature too with the violet, That's a bit more formal. I think this one dresses down a lot easier, but at the same time, for being a barbershop style fragrance, it's going to go killer with a sports jacket or a blazer or a full-on suit and tie. So it will dress up extremely well. It definitely smells a bit more serious, but not too serious. It's a classic masculine DNA, modernized. The booziness, the heavy cinnamon, those are things you find in much newer fragrances. While not new notes in perfumery overall, the use of them is a much more modern thing, and this is a modern take on a vintage classic masculine barbershop fragrance. And like I said before, in my opinion, best of the line, regardless of flanker. I haven't smelled all of them, so I know that's a bold statement, but of the 2 handfuls that I own from the AZZARO Pour Homme line, can't go wrong here, and you can find this one in the mid-30s. Absolutely give this one a try, especially if you find AZZARO Pour Homme dated. This brings it into the modern era. Another one that at the recording of this, I just did a full review yesterday at the recording of this video, and with all the talks of Invictus Aqua 2018 being discontinued, I find this to be probably the best bang for your buck way to replace it, that being Halloween Man Hero. This smells about 85 to 90% accurate, performs about the same. The difference here is some lavender, adds a bit more of a soapy nature, versus the violet in Invictus Aqua 2018 adding a more powdery nature. This is a bit more soapy, adds more of a shower gel effect, an aquatic shower gel type of smell than even Invictus Aqua itself is. I know a lot of people will say Rasasi Hawass, but while I don't own that one, I understand that to be a closer representation of the original Invictus, more so than Invictus Aqua. I could be wrong. Like I said, I do not have it. This is just my understanding, and you can get this one $40 or less depending on the bottle size. A 4.2 ounce like this in the $40 to slightly below $40 range, $35, $40 range, and it performs for me about 6 to 7 hours on my skin. Projections in the average to slightly above in the first hour, second hour, average type of projection. When I say average, I mean, a couple feet out, nothing crazy loud or super duper strong, but strong enough. Very enjoyable, super mass appealing, light blue fragrance, easy to like, never a bad time to smell fresh, clean, and aquatic like Halloween Man Hero. And another one that if you get an opportunity to experience it, let's say you're running low in your bottle of Invictus Aqua, or you're newer to this and you've wanted to get Invictus Aqua because it sounds like something you'd enjoy, but it's getting harder to find, this will be a suitable replacement at a fantastic price, that being Halloween Man Hero. And finally, this is technically the cheapest fragrance in this video, the most affordable, and one that I swear by. It's my favorite from the house, not just its line. And I have several different fragrances from a few different lines in this particular house, that being Guess. Guess has a bunch of affordable fragrances on the more synthetic side, but great for guys on a pretty tight budget. And for me, Guess 1981 Los Angeles is the highlight of the house as a whole. Why do I say that? So Versace Eros is an extremely popular fragrance DNA. There's a lot of fragrances that copy it. This copies it, but not exactly the same. Here there's a black pepper note that adds a dry spice up top, and there's a rich, very distinguishable amber note that adds a nice warm, dry, almost dry resinous type of quality. Not completely a resinous smell, but it does smell like a spicier, warmer version of Eros. Not a beast in performance, but I would say average type of projection, to average to slightly above average on longevity. This is going to be anywhere from 5, 6, 7, even 8 hours. If you spray your clothes, yeah, it'll go in that 7, 8 hour range, at least in my experience. And a 100 milliliter bottle like this can run you about $20. Gift sets that include a 100 ml, right around $20, $25. It's kind of a steal. Now, obviously, not everybody's going to feel as strongly as I do about this fragrance, but in a situation where you can actually sample it before you buy it, I think this one's worthy. Maybe Eros was a little too sweet for you, or maybe the apple was a bit off-putting, or whatever. Maybe there's a particular reason Eros just wasn't your thing. Maybe this will work for you, because like I said, it has that added spice, it's a little bit drier, and it's much more warm amber based of a fragrance than it is apple mint vanilla. While it still smells similar, it's not the exact same apple mint vanilla smell that people know and most people seem to love about Versace Eros, but this is definitely the budget way to go and kind of changes it for the better in my opinion. Definitely check this one out if you get the opportunity. It's Guess 1981 Los Angeles. Well, that is the 7 picks that I have for you today of affordable fragrances that I deem at least worth checking out. You know, you don't know if you're going to like them if you don't try them. Some of them you may have to blind buy, but the idea here is to get in a situation where you can actually sample them. Where in your area that would be, obviously, I do not know. You'd have to do your own research as far as that, but they're very affordable from many different places online. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. What in this video have you tried already? Do any of these spark your interest? Like, you know what? That actually sounds pretty good. I need to see how I can try that one for myself. Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to know if any of these sparked your interest. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of the 7 I featured today and you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.